what I wanted to go over with you guys tonight was using all the resources that you have at your disposal in 3.0. The first thing, the most important thing, I think, is to hone in on what services you're offering. Now, obviously, everybody sells websites. We've been selling sites for over 10 years here at Rocket Driver, and sites are going to be important today. They're going to be important 10 years from now. Websites aren't going anywhere. Like I often say, essentially, guys, we're like the electricians of the modern day, right? We're like electricians, like plumbers, like carpenters. It's never going to go away. We're always going to be selling. There's always going to be a place to sell sites. But with 3.0, we have these new services at our disposal. So you have to kind of say, well, what service makes the most sense? A question that many of you have asked of me. And let me just double check. You guys can see my screen. Everybody should be able to see it and see Partner Portal, right? You could just fire off in chat. Let me know if you can see that. And just double checking on this before I go any further. Okay, you guys can see the Partner Portal, right? Okay, a bunch of you are saying that. And then it goes to this infinity thing when I load up the screen. All right, well, you have to kind of hone in on, I have to kind of respond to a question that I get a lot, which is, Jake, what service should I sell? It's a question you guys ask all the time, is what service is going to get me up to speed and get me moving quickly? How am I going to make money fast here, right? Because it's one thing to make money. There's another thing to make money quickly. And I have to say the number one service to do that is going to be SEO. And it's for one simple reason. Because with SEO, it's so simple for you to go and pull in our closers onto the sale to make the sale happen. It's fast to train a sales rep. You have unlimited seats in the CRM and Sales and Success Center, so you can plug your reps into a system where they can start working leads. You have unlimited screen sharing with that. You have the ability with SEO to make a lot of money per sale, right? When you go and you look at SEO pricing, right, the lowest campaign is $380, right? You can sell this if you're going completely conservatively. Myself, I wouldn't sell that retail for less than $700 a month because I won't sell an SEO campaign for less than $700 a month. So I want to take prices and double them just about on all of our services. So with SEO, doubling that, right? And then say you throw on a $300 activation charge, right? Say that for somebody to initiate a campaign, they're going to have to pay you $1,000. Well, that means you can pay a rep a decent commission. So you can get some good salespeople to work for you. Salespeople are motivated by what? They're motivated by money. When you give them a decent, carrot to chase, they'll run for it, right? They need something to chase after. So with SEO, you have that coupled with sales support. You have the combination where you have a service that you can take and make, let's say minimum 100% on, right? You can take it and double the cost of it just about across the boards, and you're going to come in very competitive at those rates. It's not like ridiculous. The way sales support works is it's incredibly simple. You go ahead, you hit up our support department and say, hey, I need somebody from sales support on a call. I've got a demo booked for 2:00 tomorrow. We don't need more than, a few hours lead time, right? So just let us know beforehand, hey, I've got a meeting coming up in a few hours. Can you put somebody on? You just relay to us the information, what was said, was pricing discussed, what was talked about with the prospect. Give us the phone number to call in, let us know, and we'll have somebody on it. We've got a 33% closing rate, 1 in 3 closes. So it's very simple to utilize this. It's very simple to train people in this as well. When you talk about something that, getting you out there, getting you making money quickly with us, search engine optimization is one of those things where you don't have to be a rocket scientist to sell it. You really don't have to be a rocket scientist to sell websites either, right? If it looks ugly and it's obviously old, well, they need a new website, right? I mean, it's not too technically complex to know when something is, antiquated and decaying. But when it comes to SEO, no matter if they're making money or not, they can always make more money. If they're profitable, they can be more profitable. If they're not profitable, they want to get profitable, right? So it's very easy to explain. We're going to get you to move up in the rankings. That's what you're paying for on Google, right? So that's simple. That's all you really have to know. So you can get somebody up there and get them out in the field and get them making money with you quickly. So it's a service that I would put front and center. Now, does that mean that any of these other services are bad? No, not at all. All the services we put together have a place, and all of them can be sold, individually or with other services, right? But when you want a service that's a real flagship, SEO is it. And my opinion on that comes from the fact that search engine optimization is a service that, again, to reiterate my point, it doesn't take rocket scientists to sell it. And we're helping you close the deal. Now, I got a question just the other day. Somebody asked me, Jake, how do you help us close the deal? How does that work? Well, if you notice, the SEO campaigns are based on hours, right? SEO 10, 20, 30, right? 40, 50, 60. And then, of course, we could go even further than that. We can go on up. Well, the benefit here is that because it's based in hours, the closer on the phone closes them out on the package they need. You go in and bill them, right? Because it's your independent business. All of you know that. You're independent businesses. So you'd be the one going in and actually talking about money and billing them out. So the closer is basically going to set it up for you and get it wrapped shut. And you come in and you just bill your client. Now, also keep this in mind. And something I've been doing a lot of talking about recently with people is the fact that all these new services are managed services. And that's a big break from the past for us. And it's a break in a very positive direction. When you're talking about all these other services, and I'm just going to click on business listings and load that up. When we discuss this service, we're talking about something that is a completely managed service. What that means is that after these services are sold, whether it's SEO or business listings or social media or any of these services, what we're going to do is we're going to actually get on the phone and we're going to go through the setup and implementation of the service with the client. And in addition to that, we are also going to provide the clients with a phone number so they can get in touch with us to get support. Now, they're not getting it from Rocket Driver. They don't know we exist. It's gray labeled, right? It's going to be like, hello, support department. When they call in, it's going to be a very generic, nothing searchable. But they have that support facility and you have that support facility. So when all of you are, going out there and selling, you can sell with much more confidence. And that's a very, very, I think, important point to make, because it's something that, when it comes to websites, it's not really possible to do that because every single site deal is a different deal, right? I mean, those of you who are selling sites, you understand that. You're going out there and you're selling people in entirely different situations and scenarios. So it's not possible for us to get deeply involved in the setup and implementation of that service, because some sites take 2 weeks to develop, some take 2 months, and some, due to clients being, slow, could take a year, right? It's never our fault, but clients sometimes slow the process down to a crawl. It happens. So for us to handle setup and implementation of that, it's impossible. With other services, though, we do handle that. And it means scaling of businesses. It means more monies to be made. Now, something that I really wanted to talk about with you guys was, in addition to, the service that, I advise you all to go after, and obviously that's SEO. I want to talk about utilizing systems, right? Going in and using these systems to your maximum advantage. And I want to go over some do's and do nots and, just really cover the process that you want to follow when you put a lead in here and you're working and you're using the CRM that you have at your disposal, because it's a fantastic system, right? It's a really strong, good system to have. But a system's only as good as how you use it, right? You can have a system and you can, just not utilize parts of it, maybe because of, fear, maybe because you don't know any better. You just don't know how to use that system. Now, I'm just going to check here, guys. I want to make sure everybody's with me. Can you guys see my screen? I see Rod saying he can't see my screen. Can you guys see it? I want to make sure everybody can. It's going to be like infinity right now of the screen into screen into screen. Can you guys see it? Okay. Kyle can. Carlos can. Tom can. Okay. You guys can see my screen. All right. Great. All right. I'm going to go back here to the Sales and Success Center. And I'm going to click on, an example. I just want to walk through using this system a little bit, because this is a really easy to use CRM. First of all, you go and create yourself a prospect. You just click up here. you go through this process, really simple, search for a business. Okay, I'm going to type in like Remax, right? Remax Real Estate, right? And you just go through here and you could type in like Remax New York. So Remax Real Estate on 4th Avenue in Brooklyn, right? They're going to pop up. Whatever the business is that you're looking for, you do a search. It's going to be a process of refinement. You find them, you hit continue, right? You go through this. Business profile comes up. Business name, address, region, phone number, website. It's going to pull in all this information. And then there's going to be a full business profile, right? Which you can go ahead and you can click on. You can fill in some of these values here. You can change things. This is all just making a more detailed profile. Even the administration of the organization can be filled in here. Now we hit create account. Now, as the account's coming into the system, and this is going to be a new prospect for me, as I'm bringing this new prospect in, I can go ahead and I can add stuff to it. I can run my snapshot report if I want to, but I'm not. I'm going to talk more about that in a little bit, but I can go ahead and I can add contacts at that business. I can start a drip campaign for that business. I can create an opportunity of a service that I might want to sell to that business right here, right? But let's say I don't want to do any of this stuff. Not that I'm not going to, but let's say that I don't do this at the time, because a lot of the times people put stuff in later, right? I can go back and I can hit manage, go to accounts, and Remax is going to stay sitting there. Now, because this may be a prospect that I'm working and I may not have a person on this account yet. But let's say that I get in touch with somebody later on, I add a contact to this business. Well, what I'll do is I'll go down here to contacts and I'll just hit a plus, and I'm going to add in some fictitious people. I'm going to add in Joe Doe, right? Title manager, right? Email, I'm going to leave that blank, and phone number blank, but you can imagine I'd put this stuff in there and I'd put in some notes and I'll put in here and say, Joe is the manager, right? I put in some information. So now Joe, and I add him in, now Joe is associated as a contact for this account, for this prospect, right? This business that I'm looking to sell. It's all organization based. There could be 20 people here. Usually it's going to be just a few, but there could be a ton of people here. And when I start a drip campaign, right? When I go up here and I start a campaign to start emailing this business, who am I emailing? Not emailing the business. I'm actually emailing contacts associated with the business. That's how that works. The business isn't going to have, a general email account associated with it. It's all people associated with that business, right? Like CEO, owner, manager, partner, whatever those people are. Now, it's important also, walking through the system's use, right here we have opportunities, right? You can have multiple opportunities on the same account. I'll give you an example. Create a sales opportunity. Right? Let's say that I'm at the contact stage, right? So I'm at the beginning stage and I'm talking to this person, right, at that business about business listings. And maybe I'm also talking to them about local digital ads. And maybe I'm also talking to them about web development, right? So I can put in there these 3 different opportunities that I feel are, I feel maybe I'm going to sell this business. So I click create. Boom. Now I have some opportunities right in here. These are the things that I might sell to this account, to the Remax account, right? I might sell them a website. I might sell them business listings. I might sell them local digital ads. So let's say that things advance, right? I'm going to sit here and I'm going to log all these things that are going on, right? I talked to them today. So, let's say I had an outbound call and I talked to them, talked about website. All right, I add that in there, and let's say I also email them, right? So I sent an email, sent marketing email, whatever. I log all my activities, and over time, this is going to grow and grow and grow. Over time, this is going to tell a bigger and bigger and bigger picture. I'm going to add notes, right? I might put notes in here while I'm on the phone. I could say, I might put in here large account. Huge opportunity, right? I might put some notes on there. I might put on some attachments. They might send me information about their business. For example, if I was selling SEO and I'm having conversations about that. They may have materials that are relevant to the search engine optimization they've run in the past. They'd send over to me. So I would attach that stuff here. Or if it was a website, they might send me over stuff that I would attach here. I might even, after a sale has been made, attach files that they send over to me inside here just to keep everything in one spot. And I can also add tags to this opportunity, right? For example, a tag might be real estate, right? Because this is one of my real estate clients or prospects, for example. So I get this profile, and this profile is really built out. I can also do one other thing, and there's one other thing that's really important here, which is I can add tasks for myself on a given account, right? I can give myself tasks to do. So I can go in here and let me see. I think I type right here, right? No, not here. I go down to my task manager right here. And as a manager, we can assign tasks. So let me go through this, right? And actually, I'm in the wrong account, I don't think, for doing that. But let me go down here. Okay, tasks over here. Tasks, we have pending and completed. So go back here. Go back over to Remax. And I'm sorry, guys, I didn't go down to the right spot. Hit a task, right? So for example, I can assign a task. Like say I have a sales guy working for me and I want to assign him a task. I'm going to say, call this prospect today, right? I could go ahead and I can give myself tasks, but I can also go in here and I can assign tasks. So this is the way the task manager works. It's really straightforward. Tasks for myself will be, remember to call Joe, right? And I'll go ahead and I'll select a date in the future, call him by the 16th, hit save. Remember to call Joe. And this is going to pop up and it's going to remind me in my task manager. And if I'm the manager of this account, that's also going to pop up in here. So I'm going to be able to see that as well. Now, you guys may be wondering, why am I going through the CRM? I'm going through this, guys, because it's so important that you learn to properly use this thing, right? That you learn the important ways of just handling an individual account. Now, when it comes to campaigns, drip campaigns, the way this works is really straightforward. All right, we go onto this account. This is a brand new one. Obviously, it's not very old, so there's not a bunch of recent activity. Recent activity all populate here, and I'll make sure you guys can see this properly. Recent activity will all populate inside this space here as days and days go on in a given prospect. Well, you also have the ability to start these drip campaigns, right? And the drip campaign can be on one or it can be on multiple services. So let's say that I was talking to this prospect about social marketing, right? I could start a social marketing drip campaign this would be coming from team at Rocket Driver, and this would be going to an email address. I can either add a new one or I can select an email address or multiple email addresses from the list. So if I have different contacts and different contacts' emails, it'll be dripping to them and it'll send out mails to them usually weekly. It depends on the campaign, but it'll send them out periodic emails to keep them thinking about us, right? It's all about personalized marketing. It's all about making sure that that prospect gets a continued drip style of marketing from us so that over time we convert them, right? Now, how are you going to select a campaign? Because you've got multiple services to select from there. You know, and in your CRM, you're going to have a whole bunch of services. So it's really about what's your main opportunity, right? If you were going to sell web development, for example, if web development was your main opportunity, then that would be the campaign you'd select. If you feel that this prospect is better suited for SEO and that's the main one, well, then that would be what you'd go with. Now, something really important about all this are these reports, right? And I'll go back and I'm just going to remind you guys and just pull up here because we have a couple examples here with Angelo's Pizza, right? We have the snapshot report and we have the snapshot listing scan. It's very, very, very important that you understand snapshot reports do have a cost associated with them. Snapshot reports are very in-depth, very, complex report in a sense that's designed for closing, right? That's what I primarily would view a snapshot report as being good at, right, is closing business. It really works well for that because we have the graded score and we can show a business all their problems and we can hone in on that specific problem and really, really highlight it by either hiding other sections or modifying the report. I mean, you guys don't know, you can go ahead, you can show grades, show images, hide or show the images, change the language that's used, the accent rather, that's used in the videos within the snapshot report. You can hide sections, you can rewrite content. You really should take these reports and be modifying them to really fit precisely what you're doing. If you're looking for a report to use for marketing, right, that's just a door opener, you're in your system and you're just working a lead and you want to have a report to give a phone call and have a conversation, well, that's what snapshot listing scans are for. It's a much more generic. I'm not going to say it's more generic because it's very specific to that business and it's very specific to business listings, which makes it a really excellent report. But this is a report that you can run unlimited, right? You can run these reports endlessly. And for marketing purposes, they're very good. But when it comes to snapshot reports, really try to use them for closing business. They're not expensive. I think they're like $3. They're really, really helpful for closing, but you absolutely do not. Number one, you don't need them. It's not like you need to run snapshot reports. And at the same time, remember, if you're running snapshot reports and you're just using them for marketing and you're doing shotgun style marketing where you're throwing one at every single person you talk to, you could be wasting your time. It's just the nature of the beast. You still have to qualify prospects. You still have to make sure there's an opportunity there. And with snapshot listing scans, you can open the door and you're talking about a service that you can sell to just about everybody, which are their business listings. Just about every business is going to come back with, some problems when it comes to their online business listings. And it's a low-cost service that's applicable to absolutely everyone. So it gives you an ability to start every conversation off showing a report that highlights serious problems for that business, while at the same time, you're not getting into really deep territory. Because one of the things I think that everyone should keep in mind is if you're having a first conversation with a business and you show them a report that says everything about you is bad, and, in many cases it is, not always, but in many cases it is, you have to build that credibility, right? If you say your business is at F, you're 8%, you're at F, online and the best you get is a D in one category, is it really going to have that big of an impact? They have to trust you first. So you have to start the conversation off something more, credible. And it's very credible when you show them a listing scan because you're showing them actual directories. They can look themselves up. Not saying they can't look themselves up here, but you can get lost in the technical weeds of that. Right? When you're talking about like SEO, digital advertising, each of these are conversations you have to really explain your perspective and explain the problems to get them to believe you, to get them to understand. And those of you who are selling, you know what I'm talking about. That's just the nature of the beast. Let me see. I'm going to check out the questions we've got here. But before I do, I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about digital advertising, actually. Let me see. Let me just go over here. And do you guys have any questions? Okay, I see a question here from Carlos. Carlos asks, can we use SEO on our own websites to promote our web development company? I've gotten lots of emails offering SEO services from other developers. Carlos, I would definitely, if you wanted to have SEO on your site, you as a partner here at Rocket Driver can certainly buy SEO, and use it yourself. You could do something like that. If that's what you're looking to do, get in touch with support. You really don't need to go to anybody else. You have wholesale rates as low as they get. Okay. If any of you have any questions whatsoever, be sure to fire away in chat. I'd be happy to answer at the end here. And, don't hesitate. Put your questions in there. I wanted to talk a little bit, though, about digital advertising because I had a bunch of questions about it from people, and people were asking, about how digital advertising worked. And we had a webinar, several weeks ago where me and Tom went into digital advertising, and we went into, all the ways that it differentiated agencies with us, and differentiated their service sets from everybody else. Well, there's a whole bunch of things about it that make it incredibly, incredibly unique. First of all, with digital advertising from us, you basically have the power of omni-channel advertising. And omni-channel advertising, just to reiterate this, is this. In the past, right, they used to talk about single channel advertising, like you'd see commercial on TV, and that would be the only place you'd see ads for certain things. Then you'd see integration, right, where we had multi-channel marketing, right, where you'd have a commercial on television, and that commercial on television would also have a billboard campaign go up. And then maybe they would have a radio campaign that went with the billboard campaign with the television advertising. So that would be true multi-channel, right? Or magazine advertising and internet and television, and. It was never or. It was always and. It was always this, and this, these different media. And the advertising was completely unaware of the person. And it played like a one-way mirror, right? It was a one-way advertisement. Something played to you. It never got data about you. Well, with omni-channel, what we're doing is we're really going across multiple media. So here's the way that it works. And I use the example of the auto dealership, and I'll use it again because it's very relevant. Say that you have somebody with an auto lot. Let's just say hypothetically, it's a Ford dealership. The way it works is that Ford dealership, right, is looking for, we have 5,000 points of data. So we go to the Ford dealership and say, tell me about your customer. And they tell me my customer is, between the ages of X and Y. My customer is X and Y income, geographic location, X, Y. And, they go through and they give us points of data. Now, what we do is we use the GPRS coordinates of their auto lot to allow them to hone in and send targeted ads specifically to people who visit the lot, right? So every person that walks on that lot, we can go ahead and we can hone in on, and we can start putting ads onto their smartphones in-app advertising on their web browser. When they go home on their computer, the ad will follow them device to device to device, location to location to location, and it will follow them, and it'll follow just the people we want to follow. We are not going to serve the ad to kids. We're not going to serve it to people that are outside of the data of who they want to go after. We're asking them, who do you want to go after? Then what we do is we test our theories, right? Because we can't just operate on an assumption that the client knows what they're talking about. So what we do is, over time, we utilize the information that's coming back on the advertising, the responses to the advertising, and the sales to get a clearer and clearer and clearer picture in terms of those 5,000 data points of who the customer is and how do we trigger them to take action. And we're utilizing advanced artificial intelligence to do this. We're utilizing the GPRS coordinates, the data points, and of course, just good old-fashioned marketing and, data mining, right? We're looking for patterns, and we're doing pattern matching and figuring out what's working, what's not. And over time, the campaign gets more and more and more refined in who we go after and how we go after them, what ads we serve to what people, at what times, in what media, what format, when, where, and how to get the maximum results. So over time, this campaign just refines and refines and refines. And this highly targeted form of advertising, that's omni-channel. Why is it such a big deal that we have this? It's such a big deal that we have this because the only place most people have heard of this kind of advertising before is in like mainstream news talking about election campaigns, right? That's about the only place we've seen it, because just a couple of years ago, when this stuff was emerging technology, and even today, almost everywhere you look, it's only massive companies, very bespoke, very custom companies that are offering this kind of stuff, right? That are offering all the different methods and technologies that are incorporated into this service. So by having this service, those of you who have it, you have something other people do not. And for one, I'd love to see you show it off. I'd love to see you talk more about it to your prospect. And even if you don't sell this to somebody, having that level of sophistication, they are not getting shops who are getting in touch with them talking about this, right? And this can be a real game changer for like auto dealerships, boat retailers, people doing vacation sales, real estate, all kinds of businesses that rely upon that physical contact between the prospect and the business themselves and the sale, that form that triad, right? Of the person having to take that physical that physical location. Like if you're having an open house, for example, and you're a realtor, imagine if you could capture the data and market to every single person that came to your open house without having to ask them for their information, right? If you were able to just start advertising based on their GPRS coordinates, sending ads to people because they showed up, right? But not invasively. We're not talking about getting their personal data and getting involved. That's not what we're doing. We're just making sure ads go to people who come to this geographic location. That's all. We don't have their names and stuff like that. They still have to take action to go from being prospects to being clients, right, or customers. But we can go ahead and we can market this way. It's very, very, very powerful. Very, very powerful indeed. I'd love to take questions from you guys. Do you guys have any questions here? Website widget. Bob, you would have to get in touch with support about the widget. Bob's asking about a widget for doing some advertising. Anybody have any other questions? Feel free to fire away. I'd be more than happy to take questions from everybody here this evening. I want to make sure if I'm loud enough and you guys can hear me okay. I know it's a little late in the presentation to be asking that, but I just want to make sure if my volume is cranked up, high enough and all that kind of stuff. Let's see here. You guys have some questions. Okay, Carlos says I'm not loud enough. Can you guys hear me okay now? Is that a little bit better? You guys can hear me a little bit better now? Okay, good. Let me know if I'm too loud for any of you or anything like that. Let's see here. Carl, Omni Digital Marketing. Do we have any videos on it? Actually, you do. Carl, are you a member of 3.0? If you're a member of Rocket Driver 3.0, you have plenty of information on this inside of, right over here in the partner portal. Right up here, you've got digital ads under digital services. You can go there. And right here, we have sales training, post-sale process, training on the features and everything to do with it. So we do emphasize it. We will be emphasizing this service more and more as time goes on. It's incredibly powerful, feature-packed service, and it's just right all inside here. Scroll down a little bit, and you can see we have an overview of digital ads. We have selling digital advertising video here. Why sell digital ads, which is basically a broader kind of an overview. And then we have an explanation of the packages and everything that's included and how it works, the monthly minimum ad spends, and everything of the kind, onboarding procedures and everything else, and the post-sale process. Again, this is a managed service as well, just like all of our services in 3.0 are managed services. This is a service where after the sale is made, we get in touch with the client to do the setup and implementation of the service. You do not need to be a tech whiz to sell this. And this is true of all of the services of 3.0. You do not need to be a tech whiz to go out there and sell and make a lot of money selling this. Let's see here, other questions you guys have. Khadija, hi, can we make changes to our site if we are only selling sites? I haven't upgraded, but I want to improve my site to reflect the newest version of the layout. Khadija, you can certainly, have access to work on your site, but the new site that comes with 3.0, that is not, it's not optimized for pre 3.0. It has info on all of our services. Let's see here. Ivan, I have a request for PPC. How do I position Omni advertising so it's more attractive to those interested in PPC? Well, that's a really good question, Ivan. And it's a question that's actually pretty easy to answer. When you have a client, if a client's saying to you, hey, I'm interested in pay per click, if somebody comes to you, it's such an easy argument to just dispel, because what they're talking about is spending, usually it's an enormous amount of money. With PPC, you have a management charge. You often have the keywords they're going after. You have your bid and ask price and all that. And they end up spending huge amount of money. And the return on it is typically very, very low. Digital advertising, you can start somebody up, get a campaign rolling. You know, the wholesale rate on this is like grand total, and I'm talking with an ad spend, it's like $700 with a $500 ad spend, and that's the minimum spend. PPC, you might need double, triple, quadruple that to see any kind of a return, depending upon the industry, of course. You may have to spend an enormous amount of money, and the return, it's not a given. For example, I had a friend, he spent $20,000 a month during the heyday of his company on Facebook advertising, and he got no return at all. That's pay-per-click for you. Those stories are a dime a dozen. With digital advertising, you're seeing what's going on the whole time. See, it's not like, oh, give us your money and then, you just trust us. That's not how it works, because what we do is we've got over here, we have Business Center. That service is going up inside Business Center, and they're going to be able to see on a daily, hourly, minute-by-minute basis what's going on with their budget. Where is the money getting spent? What's going on? What kind of data are we gathering? They're going to see everything. It's all completely transparent. It's designed to give them that ability to know where their money's being spent, and also to be an active partner and member of that service being implemented. With PPC, it's throw your money over here and, go pray over there. And maybe you get a good outcome and maybe not. And yeah, there's some nuance to it. I'm kind of overgeneralizing and simplifying, but that's basically what it amounts to for most business owners with PPC. So if I was dispelling somebody saying, hey, I think you should do digital advertising as opposed to, PPC, with omnichannel, it's a matter of, it's like, should I go with technology that's 2020 or 1998? Literally, that's the difference. PPC is a technology and an advertising paradigm that in many ways is past peak. And what's going on, and it's almost like there's a cautionary tale playing out before our eyes in ad space, where you're looking at this kind of, confounding inferno where the platforms are trying to push PPC on everybody, like Facebook and, all these platforms that are selling ad space. They're trying to push PPC while at the same time, they're trying to profit and practice things like omnichannel. It's like they're practicing omnichannel, which would be targeted advertising, but they're wanting to sell PPC. It's really backwards. If you have any topics you guys would like to see me cover next week, because we're going to have training, we're changing the time slot, but we are going to have a webinar next week. And I want to get some topic ideas from you guys, right? Because you're out there, you're building your businesses, you're doing all this stuff. And many of you are selling like crazy. And you've got really, by now, you guys have years of experience in the trenches. A lot of you on this call have, and I'd love to hear the topics that you guys would like to see covered and gone through in detail. And if you could shoot me an email with that or any of your other comments for that matter. Remember, I'm not the support department, but I can weigh in and help you if you do have, something severe going on. But fire me an email. Let me know your topic ideas, or give me any feedback that you'd like me to have. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap up tonight's webinar. It's great talking to all of you, and have a great weekend. Get out there, sell big, and I'll see you soon. Bye, guys.